Hey guys, hope you're having a good day today. This is my mother-in-law's 2006 Pontiac G6. She took it to the dealership to get a inspection done to get her plates renewed. And why she goes to the dealership, I don't know. But they told her something was wrong with her brakes. It would cost $500 to fix it. She came back home and she said something's leaking. She's elderly. She doesn't know anything about it. So I called the dealership and said, hey, she was just up there. You tell me. And of course, they're not wanting to tell me what's wrong with it. He said, one of the brake pads isn't going all the way back. So what I suspect it's going to be is going to be the caliper's gone bad, or it's dirty, or something needs to be done to the caliper. What I'm probably going to wind up doing is replacing it. But what I need to do is get the tire off, get the caliper off, and check it to see if it actually is functioning right or not. To show you the process for that, let me get the car jacked up and on a jack stand. Alright guys, I got it up on the jack stand now, ready to go. Just a quick note, if you guys are using just the jack and not putting the car on a jack stand when you work on it, good luck with that. I've heard stories of people dying underneath their own cars. I can't think of a more horrible way to die. I know we're just taking the tire off, not crawling under it, but still wouldn't want that thing to fall and get it. Alright, I'm going to start with the left front tire. That's the one I suspect. I drove the car just to try to get a feel for it. I can feel it pulling to the left. So if what the guy told me is true, then it's probably that caliper is not releasing enough and that inside pad is dragging and pulling the car over. So let's get the tire off and take a look at everything. I've never done the brakes on this car before. I do have a Chevy truck I've replaced the calipers on. Both GM, we'll see. Alright, let's get here on my light, take a look-see. Front pad looks pretty good. Checking up, these are not Torx bits. My truck definitely has Torx bits. So, probably gonna move the camera on the other side since this is in the front to show you what we're going after. But I'm gonna take these two, at least one of these bolts out, pick it up, take a look at the brake shoes. This one right here looks almost new, looks pretty good. That other one on the inside is a lot smaller. We'll have another clue to look for, and then the next thing I'm going to try after that is I'm going to try to actually compress the caliper back into the piston back into the caliper. They should push in pretty smooth. If they don't, then you know you got a problem. So let me move the camera around and we'll go ahead and get that caliper off. All right, we got these are 14 millimeter on this. Loosen these up. Just going to take this bottom one out. Hopefully we can just pull the caliper up. Take a look at what's going on. Here we go. That's rust or grit. Let's see here. Compare these two. They look about the same to me. Alright, next step, we're going to try to push that caliper back in. If it goes back in smooth, we'll check the other side and see if that's what they were talking about. Alright, what I'm going to use, I know they make tools for this, but I don't do enough brakes to warrant purchasing one of those, but just use a C-clamp to run this back in, and we'll use the brake pad like that. And then just compress it. Alright, a little adjustment with the light. I think I'm ready to crank on this now. See what we got. Alright, that's going in super easy. So, we're going to say, nope, that is not a bad brake caliper. Oh, everything's falling. So if you don't know what I was up to, this is the piston. The fluid forces that out. When you apply the brakes, pressure builds up and this comes out. Then once you take your foot off, it just relieves the tension, and then the brake pads separate from the disc. If you got one of them that's dragging, it's usually this piston's not going back in like it's supposed to. I don't see any evidence that there's anything wrong with this side of the car. So I'll jack up the other side just to make sure, but the car was definitely dragging to the left. It could be one of those things. Just might be take it apart, put it back together, it might work fine. I will take the bracket off here, and I'll get all this cleaned out where the hardware, where the brake pads run, to make sure that couldn't have been the issue. I hadn't really looked at the back, but there might be some kind of buildup or something on it that was preventing it from moving back and forth smoothly. So let me get set up for that, and we'll get this bracket off. Alright, I changed my mind. I'm not going to take the bracket all the way off. After looking at it, I don't see any need to. One thing, these pins that go back and forth, both of them seem to move fine. There's not any kind of catch. What you would do is take those all the way out, boot off, and then you would re-grease them. I don't feel any kind of resistance when I pull those in and out. So I am going to get the hardware off. They're just clipped on, and just clean those, put them back in, and put the brake back together. Yeah, easy enough. So your shoe or brake pad actually travels back and forth. You see just a small amount, but if there's an issue there, it could prevent the brake from coming back out, but I really don't see it. It would have to be a lot of rust or gunk or something that would prevent that thing from not operating properly. So let me get this cleaned up, take the top one out, do the same thing, get it reassembled, and then take her down the road and see what we got. Like I said, when I drove it, it was pulling to the left. I gave those a little toot with the brake clean and brushed them. I really don't think that was the problem, but better safe than sorry. So we'll get these clipped back in. Just pop on. Like I said, this is my mother-in-law's car. I'm sure there's a mother-in-law joke about her brakes working right after this. Should she befall a little accident? Just kidding. Of course. I'm just looking at the tips of these also, because that's what rides in those in the hardware. I don't see any reason at all why these wouldn't be returning like they're supposed to. And again, I mean, the evidence there, you can tell that's where the piston was pushing it. So you know this was the inside shoe, or I keep saying shoe like I'm back in the 70s or 80s working on cars. But this pad here, there's not enough difference between those two to make me think that this was dragging on the inside. So we'll get these put back in, make sure everything's where it's supposed to be. So I've never worked on these Pontiac's brakes before, but I'm sure it's just like every other GM ever made in this genre. One thing I didn't know, this is actually a Pontiac Grand Am. They changed the name to G6 because it's the 6th generation Grand Am. So instead of a Grand Am, now it's a G6, so go figure. All right, one thing to check also, make sure when I push this piston back, I'm going to clean that off too, that looks a little nasty. But it's got this rubber boot that goes around. I've got to get better with working with a light. But it's got this rubber boot that goes around here, and you want to make sure that that's all whipped back in evenly, that you don't have any air in it. Nothing's going, when the piston comes back out, it's not going to be able to roll over and catch that rubber and damage it. So what I'm going to do, I'll wire brush the top of that a little bit, a little brake clean on it, before I put it back in, just to cover all the bases. Alright, we're back with the brake clean brush. If any of y'all are South Main Auto fans, here comes the brake clean. Shout out to Eric over there. Great channel. If you haven't seen him, please check him out. The man knows everything about a car that you can need to know. Alright, that looks pretty good. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to get that top one started. Maybe. There we go. I'll figure it out. And since that piston's pushed in, that'll slide right back where it's supposed to be. Alright. Get those run back down. You don't need to go ham on this. You just need to be snug. Something's not right there, is it? Yep, I'm about to make a mistake. Apparently this part here has got to be orientated correctly, or it's not going to go back together, right? So I'm glad I caught that before I did something stupid. And that kind of orientated itself right there when I released it. Alright, that looks much better. The younger me would not have caught that. The younger me would have blundered right into that mistake and maybe put the car in the ditch. Or my mother-in-law in the ditch. Okay, that one feels like it's right. Alright, now we're going to tighten them up. Like I said, don't go ham on those. Right. I'm happy with that. Let's get the tire back on and give her a drive. This still feels like it's dragging on that side or not. I'll come back when I'm done and let you know what I found.